What is the difference between 2n and n? Now 2n means 2 atoms of nitrogen, 2 separate atoms, and n means 1 atom of nitrogen. The difference between HCl and 2HCl. HCl means 1 molecule of hydrochloric acid or hydrogen chloride. I think we need to write hydrogen chloride. And 2HCl means 2 molecules. Molecules is a group of atoms of hydrogen chloride. Difference between O and O minus 2. Now O represents 1 atom, 1 separate atom of oxygen, and O minus 2 represents an ion of oxygen. It's called an oxide. An oxide, an ion of oxygen. Next, the difference between P and 4P. 4P is 1 atom of phosphorus and 4P is 4 separate atoms of phosphorus. Next is difference between CO and CO. Now CO, capital C, small o, is atom of cobalt. But C, capital O, capital is molecule of carbon monoxide. Carbon monoxide. Remember, CO2 is molecule of carbon dioxide. Here we got 2 atoms, 1 carbon and 1 oxygen. Here there is only 1 atom, that is of cobalt, CO. So here give the difference between a molecule and an atom. This is from your textbook. An atom is the smallest particle of an element that has independent existence or exists independently and retain all its chemical properties. For a molecule, it is the smallest particle of an element or a compound capable of independent existence under ordinary conditions. It shows all the properties of the substance. Another thing we know that atoms, they exist as ions or molecules. They do not usually exist on their own. Do not usually exist on their own. But when it comes to molecule, they have independent existence. Independent existence. They're very stable. They are stable. Here, of course, the element that they can exist independently. They are able to, but they usually do not exist independently. They exist as an ion or a molecule. Like we have a hydrogen atom. We have a hydrogen atom. Hydrogen atom is H2. But if we have a atom of hydrogen, H2 is a molecule of hydrogen, and an atom of hydrogen is just H. Give the difference between the molecule of an element and molecule of a compound. So molecule of element made up of same type of atoms. Same type of atoms, and examples of this could be hydrogen, chlorine, both same type of atoms, or could be nitrogen. And the molecule of an compound made up of different types of atoms, made up of two or more type of atoms. Example, water, H2O, made up of hydrogen and oxygen. Or we can say sodium chloride, molecule of a compound made up of sodium and chlorine, and so on. Different atoms. What is an ion? A charged species or a charged atom or an atom with a charge is called an ion, an atom with a charge. Next, name the two types of ions. We have the cations, which are positively charged, atoms, and they are formed on losing electrons. When atoms lose electrons, you get cations. And next we have the anions. These are negatively charged atoms. And they are formed on gaining electrons. When atoms gain electrons, you get anions. Now, to give an example of cations, positively charged, could be sodium, Na positive, or could be magnesium +2, or aluminium +3. An example of anions could be chlorine -1, nitrate -1, oxide -2, all anions with negative charge. What is a polyatomic ion? Poly means many, atom is many atoms, okay? So an ion, a polyatomic ion, is a group of atoms carrying a charge. It's called a polyatomic ion. Next is give example of a polyatomic cation and a polyatomic anion. So for a polyatomic cation means having positive charge, ammonia, NH4 +1, and polyatomic cation, anion, cation I've written already, anion would be like hydroxide, OH -1, or phosphate, or carbonate. These are polyatomic anions. An element X has valency +3. give the formula of its oxide. So X has valency +3, oxygen valency is, we know, -2. So when we crisscross, its oxide will be X2O3. Next we have to give its chloride. So X is given valency +3, chlorine valency -1. When you crisscross, it will be X1Cl3, but you do not need to write 1, so XCl3 will be its chloride. Next is bicarbonate. So X is, we know, +3. Bicarbonate is HCO3, and the valency is always -1. When you crisscross, you get X. HCO3 has to take valency 3, so you put in a bracket. Next, sulfate. X valency is 3. Sulfate SO4 valency -2. When you crisscross, you get X2SO4 bracket 3. Phosphate, X valency +3 given. Always write the positive valency first. Phosphate, PO4 valency -3. Both are 3, 3, so you don't need to write. So XPO4 will be its phosphate. An element E has valency +4. What's the formula of its chloride? So E +4, chloride 1. When you crisscross, ECl4. Next, what will be the formula of its sulfide? So E +4, sulfide -2. So when you crisscross, it will be E2S4. But here you can take 2 common out. From 2 and 4, you can take 2 common out. And what will happen? You get ES2. An element Z forms an oxide ZO. What is the valency of Z? So we don't know the valency of Z, but we know the valency of oxygen is 2. And since it's given O2, both must have been 2 and 2. That's why they took common out, and then you got your valency of ZO. So the valency of Z must be 2. Is 2. What is the formula of its fluoride? So Z valency is +2, fluoride is F-1. Crisscross, Z1F2. So ZF2 will be its fluoride. An element forms an oxide A2O5. So we have A2O5, which means A must be having the valency 5, crisscross, and O must be, we know valency is 2. We have to write its fluoride. That means we know A is 5, and chloride is 1. Crisscross, ACl5 will be its chloride. To explain this, you know A has got, here this is A, and the valency of A must have been 5, and the valency of O must have been 2. An element B shows valency 4 and 6. Write the formula of its oxide. So it shows 2 valencies. One case it shows 4, and in the other case B shows 6. So in the first case where it shows 4, we know oxygen is 2. So now we crisscross, it change the valency, so it will be B2O4. We can take 2 common out, so it will be BO2. And in the second case we have valency 6, O we know is 2. Now again we crisscross, so we get B2O6. You take 2 common out, BO3. That will be its oxide. So it forms 2 kinds of oxide, BO2, BO3. An element X of valency 3 combines with element Y of valency 2. Write the formula of its compound. So we have X with valency 3 combines with Y with valency 2. Now when you crisscross it, you'll get X will take the valency 2 and Y will take the valency 3. So this will be the compound formed when they combined. So this is formula of the compound. Formula of compound X2Y3. The formula of sodium bicarbonate is NaHCO3. Now what is the valency of sodium and bicarbonate? Now this you don't have to look in the formula. You know sodium valency is always +1 and bicarbonate valency is -1. You cannot say that sodium valency is 3. That is wrong. Sodium valency is always +1 and bicarbonate, this is bicarbonate, valency is -1. In CO2, find the valency of C and O. So we have CO2. So you probably think the valency of O, since the exchange is 2 and oxygen is 1. But we know the valency of oxygen is not 1. Oxygen is 2. So this is multiplied by 2, right? This also you need to multiply by 2. So you have 4 and 2, which means now the oxygen valency is 4, the carbon valency is 4, oxygen valency is 2. So this is your answer. You know why we multiplied by this 2? Because we know oxygen cannot be 1. Oxygen is 2, so we multiply here by 2, here also by 2. That means the carbon must be 4. For the next one, in XO, find the valency of X and O. So we have XO. So X and O, we know oxygen is 2. Therefore, X also has to be 2. That is why we get X2O2. We take common out and get XO. So valency of X is 2 and of O is also 2. If the aluminum salt of an anion is Al2X3, so let's write that, Al2X3, which means aluminum valency 3 and X valency 2. Remember, they crisscross the valency. Aluminum will take valency 3, X will take valency 2. Next is, what is the formula of the magnesium salt? So magnesium we know is 2. We are here now finding the magnesium salt. Magnesium is 2 and X we know also is 2. So it will be Mg2X2. You take common out, Mgx. This will be formula of magnesium salt.